Well, this is it. The Season 10 finale is upon us. Once upon a time at Sebring, we had a race that ran at 8 times time acceleration. It was the first special event in Alpha Touring Challenge history. Today, we replicate that event. Time will accelerate very quickly here. We have started, it's basically, we're simulating the 12 hours of Sebring, sort of. The race is a bit longer than usual. The field is set and ready to go for one final time this season. The championship picture is simple for Micah Hendricks. If he finishes 4th or better, he is your 2-time Alpha champion. If he finishes 5th or worse, from there it doesn't matter because a drop week kicks in, effectively making it a 5th place finish, being the worst that he can do today points wise, which means that for Logan McKenzie to be champion, he has to finish 1st, and Hendricks has to finish 5th or worse. So even if McKenzie finishes 2nd, there is no shot. Hendricks is immediately crowned champion. So let's go down to the starting grid for today's lineup. There's still a few drivers gridding up for today's race. So like we said, 8 times time acceleration in store for the drivers. It's going to start in the afternoon. It's going to be quite warm, and it's going to cool down to the end of the race. There will be one pit stop somewhere in there where the drivers will have to refuel the cars. Otherwise, we have 60 minutes of action coming at you. And now we get to show you the starting grid for the final race of the season, and it is a spicy one. It is Matthew Zepka on pole here at Sebring International Raceway. Micah Hendricks' teammate is working hard to get him that championship, putting it on pole alongside Micah Hendricks' other teammate, Francois Schenk. Then you have McKenzie in 3rd, so he has some work to do. He qualified 2/10 off of your pole sitter. John Lazon sits in 4th, so how will he fit into this equation? Then you have Bauer, McFarland, Carr, 2, Gorman, and D'Almeida in your top 10. Kevin Clark bagged a Delta pole position for himself today. And then you have Jason Breen and Brandon Dreyer rounding out that Delta field. In the Delta class, the championship scenario, it is close. If Mark Darnell wants to win the championship, he has to beat Saab by a few positions. It depends on where they are in the final order, how many points they earn. That will determine how many positions it has to be, but he has to beat him by something. But Saab right now starting 23rd, and then you have to. Did I miss Darnell? No, Darnell is starting 21st, so he is 2 spots ahead of Saab. They are very close to each other. And then Micah Hendricks, no valid qualifying laps, down in 32nd. So he is fully at the mercy of whatever happens at the front of this field, and it is led by his 2 Curb Your Enthusiasm Autosport teammates trying to get him that 2nd driver's title. McKenzie trying to get his 6th. 1 hour of racing is about to determine who it will be. We sit on the starting grid with a little bit of time before they throw the green flag. About 30 seconds. Still a couple of cars missing. A few cars making their first start today. Ryan Field, Nathan Winters, and Spencer Clark all making their first career Alpha Touring starts today here at Sebring International. The sun should stay out for most of the race until we start, and it looks like they are about to get ready. And Matthew Zepka leads them off here at Sebring. They let them go quickly there, and he has reacted well. Shinks on his right side. McKenzie is clear of Lazan and Bauer, and here comes the field. Round turn one they go, and Shink on the outside line. He's going to take the lead at Sebring. And through the S's they come, and it will be Francois Shink, your leader. Oh, and McKenzie, he gets a tap. I think that was from Zepka, and through is going to go James Carr. Zepka, will anyone else get through? Riding along with McKenzie. And immediately the championship picture takes a left turn as McKenzie is demoted from third place to fourth, and he's currently battling with Gorman, and he clears him. So now Zepka getting ahead of James Carr, and Francois Shink already has a sizable lead in this one, 2.2 seconds. And they know in that team that only one of them has to finish ahead of McKenzie for their teammate to be champion, as Gorman gets into the back of McKenzie, and more contact happening back here. And McKenzie struggling now in the opening parts of this race, and here comes David Bauer, and Bauer's going to send it on the 0-1. And McKenzie flashing his lights, not happy with Gorman, and now the front of the field is completely spread out. McKenzie has been demoted to fifth. Zepka 2.2 seconds off of his teammate Shink, and Carr not far behind. And that is a huge stack up of cars behind McKenzie. And as they get out onto the back stretch, that's a hairy moment for David Bauer. And he's out onto the grass, mowing the lawn in the Honda. Lazan and Mitchell will pass by, along with Mike DeAlmeida. Dan McFarland will now pull alongside. Up ahead, James Carr goes into sunset and takes the position on Matthew Zepka. Dan McFarland will clear David Bauer, and now here comes Connor Acatella. He gets into a bit of a slide, but trying to keep it together and get side by side here. Diamita and McFarland also heading down to turn one, wheel to wheel. Bauer will clear Acatella, and Diamita is going to keep it on the inside of the 23. Tracking all the way out to the edge of turn one. John Lazan off track in the foreground. He comes back on in front of these guys, stacks them all up, and now Bauer getting alongside Diamita. There's a little bit of contact, a little bit of touching. And neither of them willing to give this one up. Acatella right on the back bumper of his teammate. And in the braking zone, Acatella going a little wide there, and behind Anthony Harrison gets all stacked up and tries to go around. Acatella looks like he's going to get it done, and you have Ryan Field introducing himself into this, and will it be 3 wide? Harrison gets clipped as a result, and that collects Acatella. Clark has to slow down. This is a huge crash. Dryer's involved, off track, and there goes Christian Ost. It's just a cascading affair. An SRG car is heavily damaged. That is Ian Bertolucci, and now Kyle Murray going side by side with Sedano, with Hendricks. Hendricks coming through to 18th, trying to make his way up the field with an outside shot to affect the championship if he can get all the way back into the top 4. Car is still 2.4 seconds off of Francois Shink. Things have calmed down a little bit back here. Meanwhile, Logan McKenzie now closing back in on Edward Gorman, but his gap to the leader now, 5 seconds. Kevin Clark, he is going side by side with Mark Darnell. Darnell has a little bit of front end damage from all the carnage that happened prior. And behind you have Micah Hendricks and Sedano going too wide. So here we go into sunset. Bauer and Mike Delmita exit the corner side by side. Sedano going very wide through there, and Kevin Clark has had a problem. He's gone too wide into the wall, and it's gone from bad to worse. The 89. He had to slow up big time for the crash. It cost him a lot of positions, and now heavy damage. Delmita and Bauer going through turn 1, wheel to wheel, and Bauer's taking the position. Now they have McFarlane and Mitchell ahead of them. That is 8th and 7th that they're looking at. And the battles are staying intense. Everyone knows this is their last chance to demonstrate everything that they've got in ATC 10 in preparation for ATC 11. Bauer up the left side of the SRG. It is McFarlane on defense, and he keeps the position, having to watch Mitchell walk away from him a little bit here. He's got some left front damage that he is nursing as well. And he may go for another lunge. I think he senses a little bit of weakness from McFarlane, and he's going to take advantage on throttle with the Honda, but not going to be able to hold it around the outside. Will he look for some kind of over-under as they come to tower? Looking to the right. It's a big lunge. Oh, and a bit of contact on corner exit, and Delmita is going to choose to go with Bauer, and a bit of contact to the back of him. It's a bump draft, but Ryan Fields right there trying to take advantage of this as well in his first AlphaTauri Challenge start, and they are all stacked up. It's 2 by 2 in the battle for 8th place. McFarlane and Bauer are still going at it, and on the turn to the backstretch, it looks like it's going to be McFarlane for now. But I don't think this is going to last. Looking at the back bumper of Bauer, he's getting the bump draft of his life. And now he pulls out to the right. He's going to attack McFarlane again. It's the 3rd time he's come under fire from Bauer, and this time he's going to falter. He goes wide. He gets into the dirty stuff, and all 3 of those cars are going to go through on him, and he's going to dive into the pits. He's going to jump to pit lane. And I think that's just a blink out, but we'll check back in on him. Mike Delmita and David Bauer going too wide to turn 1, and Bauer will hold that position. So all 3 of them get around. Dan McFarlane, who I am reading is out. So something happened to him there as he pulled into pit lane. And he is officially in the garage. McKenzie now very close to Gorman, and he is looking to the right side of him as they head down to the hairpin, and McKenzie can see the championship slipping away as those 3 cars in the distance get further and further. He lunges on the brakes to Gorman, and Lazon's going to try and follow. It is a 2-wide situation on the exit of the hairpin. Honda versus Honda. As they make the run down to the right-hander, McKenzie is immediately putting distance between himself and Gorman and Lazon. Lazon up the inside. Now he's going to have to hold the outside here. I don't think he's going to be able to do it, so Gorman has defended this, at least this position. They've lost already 1.2 seconds to McKenzie. McKenzie now free to go chase the leaders. Carr has closed some of that gap. It's a 1.4 seconds to Schink now, and Zepka's a second off that, and then it's 2.5 to McKenzie. We're only 8 minutes into the race. Lazon still looking to attack Gorman here. But, I think he may have lost him there, and now it's going to be a 5/10 gap. He won't be able to come at him again before they get to sunset. So we'll look back to Mike Delmita, who's still trailing David Bauer. And the Delta lead, we really haven't talked about the Delta lead at all since we saw the carnage at the start. But Jason Breen leads from 11th place. Then you have Mark Darnell 5 seconds back, and he's only 1 spot ahead of Brian Saab. I don't think that's enough for him to win the championship. So we will stay tuned into this. Saab under a little bit of pressure from Brian Son. Son looking for a solid finish in the final race of the season. just on the outside of the podium right now. These guys are all getting stacked up. David Bauer, looks like he had a hairy exit from turn 1, and now Mike DeAlmeida is still putting him under heavy pressure, and Ryan Field may run out of patience here and decide he wants to get around the 6. Down to the hairpin they come, and Bauer will have the space to do what he wants here. And Gorman's still under some pressure from Lazan, and Lazan's not giving this one up anytime soon. He knows that the longer he takes to get around Gorman, the less the chance he has to get back up to the rest of the leaders. Damian Mitchell's not far behind either. The more they fight, the more they risk falling into the clutches of Mitchell, Bauer, DeAlmeida, and Field. That's the rest of the top 10 right there. And now Lazan going to try it around the outside. This is a bold move, and he's made it work. Has to put a foot in the dirt. And now Mitchell will have a great view of this. Now, as they come through the corner, Lazan has a small advantage. But Gorman has the inside line and cuts ahead. Will he find another way alongside the 137 here? He goes out very, very wide. But it's gotten him a good run, and he's going to have a shot at Gorman by the time they get to the end of this straight, I think. Look at the closing speed, and Gorman will allow him to have the inside. Under braking. Is this it for Lazan? Can he finally make the move for the top 5? On throttle, onto the front stretch. Gorman tracks all the way out, but Lazan's already got him cleared. And down to turn 1, I don't think he's going to be a threat. Behind Bauer, however, facing a threat from Mike DeAlmeida. Bauer's having to go defensive. That might put them in the clutches of Ryan Field if they're not careful. Oh, and will Mike DeAlmeida go for an over-under? He might. Look at the left side of the 35. But he was not alongside, and he decides to tuck back in. Ryan Field getting an excellent view of all of this. While this has been happening, James Carr closed to the back of Francois Schink, and McKenzie has lost some ground on Zepka. Micah Hendricks, meanwhile, he's not too far off this group we're watching. He's currently sitting in 12th. He's a ways off from clinching the championship by sneaking into 4th. So checking in on our leader, Francois Schink has James Carr within 4/10 of him. His teammate Matthew Zepka is not too far off. Pole sitter now 1.7 seconds off the lead. And we have fighting back here. Something has happened. Brian Son has gotten ahead. Kyle Murray has Evan Clavijo and Daniel Cedeno stacked up behind, battling for position. It looks like they're going to sort themselves out. Tailed by the Bear Pope duo of Kirk Lane and Ian Henneberry behind. Oh, there's contact, and Cedeno narrowly avoids getting sent off into the grass to the right. And there's not a whole lot of distance between the edge of the track and a concrete barrier out there. As they come on to the back stretch, Clavijo, last week's winner for the first time in his career, now under some pressure from Cedeno. And up front in the battle for the lead, Schink may be under pressure into turn 1. He's having to sit on a slightly defensive line, and Carr, will he go for the over-under? Attacking the turn 1 apex. Schink's gotten a decent exit. He might be protected heading down to turn 2. No! Carr goes for it! But the 18 stays ahead. And Zepka closes in ever quicker. Jason Breen allows Micah Hendricks through. So Hendricks up to P11 now. And Carr's not done yet. Looking to the right at hairpin. And now staying behind the 18. A quarter of the way through the season finale. It's Schenk, Carr, Zepka. Zepka picked up his second career pole position today. His first was a bit of a historical curiosity. He scored the same exact time down to the 1,000th as Slugnificent in Mid-Ohio, but had the faster time if you looked at the 10,000th. Today, though, it was a bit clearer. He was a whole tenth above Francois Schenk, nearly 2/10 above the championship hopeful Logan McKenzie. Checking back in on Mike D'Almeida and David Bauer. And D'Almeida, whoa, that's a time to check in as he gets right into the back of Bauer. And that is a signal that, hey, we need to hurry up. And they aren't that far off the cars ahead. They are catching up to Gorman and Mitchell, at least. Maybe even Lazan. But I think D'Almeida is faster than the lot of them. And I don't know how quick Ryan Field is, but he's hanging on to the back of these guys as well, showing a lot of pace in his first outing here. Micah Hendricks has just set the fastest lap of the race. He went a full second faster than the leaders on that lap. He's not out of this yet. He could still get to fourth place and clinch this championship. David Bauer is going to be under pressure at Sunset. I think he went a bit wide, and that invites Mike D'Almeida in and out as he has cleared Bauer, but I think Bauer's getting a little bit outside drafted down to turn one. It's not going to be over. He will keep the nose in, and right as they hit the apex, D'Almeida's going to clear him. And now we got to jump back to look at Kyle Murray and Brian Son. This is the battle for fourth in the Delta class. Son will clear him. Now Bauer's under pressure from Field. Field tried to jump him into turn two. He fends him off. That allows Mike D'Almeida to run a bit further ahead. Now Daniel Cedeno and Ian Henneberry coming to blows, and Cedeno goes around, or excuse me, Henneberry goes around Cedeno. Now Cedeno's sticking his nose in, and he did not find anything there. He's got Fedorowski on his back bumper now. Big scrap for 8th in the Delta class. Now Brian Son may be under more pressure from Kyle Murray. And under braking, Murray's not going to do anything there. So we look back to our race leader, Francois Schenk. Currently has a small advantage over James Carr. Zepka has been closing this gap. He's now 7/10 off the leaders. Carr is very close here, and it looked like Schenk got a little out of sorts into that corner. Carr slowed up as well, maybe got into the back of the 18, and now here comes Matthew Zepka. And Zepka is currently on for a career finish. He sits in third and very much like to take second to match his career best. Or even first. Schenk and Carr have not been fighting much in the last lap or two, and Zepka has been closing in, at the very least keeping up with them. Now, McKenzie, he still 3 seconds off that group. On the last lap, he was 3/10 faster than Schenk, 2/10 faster than Carr and Zepka. So there may be some hope in this for McKenzie yet, at least to fight for the win, as the rest of that group behind kind of strings out. Brian Saab has caught Mark Darnell and may be looking for a move into turn one, but can't get alongside and has to tuck back in. Now Raymond 2, he was involved in that carnage at the start, I believe. He lost 8 positions, or no, he had a pit lane start, excuse me. He crosses over Blondal there and gets into 22nd. Ian Henneberry has gone off track ahead, and he is dropping positions. He's down to 21st, 10th in class. And Raymond 2 is going to go around him as well, I think, and maybe even August Blondal into the hairpin. He's not going to give this one up easy. But under the brakes, he's going to have to stay behind the 96 of Raymond 2. Mark Darnell is under more pressure from Brian Saab. Saab not close enough to make any moves yet. Son and Murray are catching up to them, so these Delta drivers are all quite close to each other right now. Hitting a third of the way through this race, 20-minute mark. Getting late into the afternoon in this time accelerated race. You can tell that the sun is definitely lower in the sky than it was when the race began. On board with Brian Saab. And they're both just pushing as hard as they can, going a bit wide on the exit there. And now we got to check in on the battle for the lead because Francois Schink has Carr very close to him. And on the exit of turn 1, they're both pushing to the absolute maximum. And Carr makes a lunge. Zepka is there if something were to happen. They come down to the hairpin, and we have another important championship update. Micah Hendricks battling Ryan Field for 10th as he continues to work his way up the field. Wouldn't it be a heroic comeback for him to make it to 4th place and clinch the championship that way? On the inside of Field, he will take the position, and he now sits 8 seconds off of 4th place, and who else is it but Logan McKenzie? McKenzie's gained a little bit on the leaders. He's now 2.7, 2.8 seconds off them, but not a whole lot. I think he needs to hope for a little more fighting there. It feels like it might kick off soon because now Zepka's on the back of Carr, and Carr's... they're probably all fuel saving a little bit for the pit stop. And this is also going to hurt McKenzie because he's not able to fuel save for the pit stop at all. You can see him in the background, but these three, if they've decided to kind of run around in a line and save fuel, then that could be trouble for those behind. Let's listen in and see if there's any fuel saving. Zepka seems to be going full bore. Now we'll check in with James Carr. And not much of a fuel save, actually almost a lunge. And you can see how close he's getting to Schink here. This is a great camera angle as Schink thinks about going defensive but stays in the lead. The thing about being in the lead, if you take the lead, there's very little chance of you running away because the slipstream's powerful here. There's a couple big, you've got the couple big straightaways that make it difficult to put any kind of gap between yourself and the cars behind. Battle for 23rd. Dan McFarland, who was involved in the wreckage at the start of the race, working the outside of Daniel Sedano in turn 1, and he has nosed ahead, and he has cleared him. Now Damon Mitchell is under pressure from Mike Delmeda. I think there may have been an off-track involved there. We see the dirt kicked up. And now the 6 looking for a way through on the 27. He'll have the inside line, and Mitchell will just tuck in. So that puts a car in between the Almeida and Bauer there. And up front, it is Schink with 2/10 still on Carr. These three are, they've been covered by less than a second for a few laps now. And Bauer is now looking to do the same thing to Mitchell that Mike D'Almeida did as he puts a nose up the inside, and there may have been a little bit of contact. Mitchell looked like he got sideways a bit. Now they come through the next corner and they keep it clean. Bauer takes a lot of curb, and that's going to cause him to lose out to Micah Hendricks, who pulls to the right side and is ready to pass David Bauer. He's looking for 9th place. He's going to have 9th place. Will he also make a lunge on Mitchell? He's not close enough. He's still going to work on clearing Bauer. And he has done so. Hendricks has struggled ever since the qualifying format switched mid-season from the open qualifying to the solo qualifying. His average starting position plummeted. It's put his championship at risk because McKenzie immediately started collecting poles left and right. But when it comes to the actual race, you see Hendricks just come alive, and he's always making up whatever he lost and then some, and he's all over the back of the 27 right now. And while we're watching this, Carr has made a move for the lead. In the hairpin, now 2 wide with Schink, and they're going to fight this a little bit, and this is immediately allowing McKenzie to gain some time. Zepka goes to the left side behind Schink. Carr on the brakes, clears the 18, and we have a change of the lead. James Carr enters the lead, and for Carr, it has been a little bit of time since he last stood on the top step. Last season, race around 8, the first race at Daytona. It was his 4th win of the season, and he has not picked up any wins so far this season in comparison. So wouldn't that be nice for him to find that in the final race? Now the Sia teammates of Schink and Zepka, though they are not necessarily controlling the lead of the race anymore, they still can control Micah Hendricks' championship destiny. Logan McKenzie's 1.4 seconds off now, so he's firmly in this fight for the lead. But he has to get through 3 cars who really don't want to let him by. Zepka and Schink for obvious teammate reasons, but Carr, he's going to want that win. He's not going to want to go winless this season. So they're all 3 going to be fighting as hard as possible, championship or not. Delta update. Jason Breen, still your Delta leader. Commanding lead, 9 seconds over Mark Darnell. But then Mark Darnell has Brian Saab and Brian Son right behind him. He needs a little bit more space to Saab if Darnell wants to be champion. Saab, he is doing exactly what he needs to do in this race. And so far, he has kept that car very clean. We jump to Matthew Zepka, because he's very close to the back of Schink. Ever since these 2 swapped positions, Carr and Schink, Zepka has not been more than 4/10 off the back of his teammate, and I wonder if at some point they're going to decide he's the quicker of the 2. It's hard to tell who has the pace right now. There's still a good bit of slipstream at play here. And they could still get away with some fuel saving. McKenzie is a second off of them, so he will eventually be able to get up there and fuel save with them as well. We close in on the halfway point of the final contest of the season. Your leader right now, James D. Carr, driving the 19 for breakfast for dinner, trying to bring home a win, and he got a bad exit there, and I think he's been dinged with a slow down penalty because he hits the brakes, and the lead's going to change once again. Now Francois Schink controls the race with Matthew Zepka behind him, so Sia is suddenly firmly in control of this one. Carr is in third with McKenzie 3/10 off of him. So this is it. The top four is all together. And if Hendricks wants to stop McKenzie from winning this race on his own, he'd have to catch one of these four cars and pass them. That seems like a tough order. They all seem like they are quite a bit faster than the rest of the field. Damon Mitchell and David Bauer. They're going to go wheel to wheel here in turn one. Bauer's been stuck behind Mitchell for some time. Mitchell's been doing a good job on defense, but now on the outside of turn one, Bauer's going to keep it on track and clear Mitchell, and Ryan Field may take advantage of this. He sends it up the inside of the Veloster. It's Veloster versus Elantra, and the number 7 may lose out here. Mitchell's going to get a good exit. Oh, maybe not. Mitchell had to go into the dirt a little. And that is why you should not speak too soon, because now Field is going to have a nose ahead as they come down the hairpin. They're almost dead even. And Mitchell decides he's going to tuck in behind as Field beats him on the brakes. Let's take a look at Micah Hendricks' current situation. These 3 cars in front of him pose a huge challenge to his hopes of dashing McKenzie's championship hopes. A lot of hopes here today. D'Almeida, Gorman, and Lazan are sort of the B-tier drivers here today. And though Hendricks looks like he's the fastest car on track right now, he was 1 full second faster than Francois Schink on that last lap. These guys are 4.5 seconds off the top 4 already. So, and we're over halfway through the race now. So they've got to get it. He's got to get a move on, and they've got to get a move on if he wants to catch these guys. You're now looking at your race leader, followed closely by his teammate. And Matthew Zepka has no career wins. He's the only one in the top 4 with such a distinction. Actually, the only one in the top 6 with such a distinction, if you want to extend it back that far. And technical difficulties today, as our overlay does not like the timing systems here at Sebring. But they're doing the best they can up in the booth. And Francois Schenk's doing the best he can out in front. I heard someone hit the wall just now, but you never know when those are real. Let's look a little bit deeper into the Delta class, because Kirk Lane's got Evan Clavijo slow in front of him, and Clavijo's going to circle around and hit pit road. And not sure what that was, but now Clavijo disappears. So we look to Francois Schenk. Saab, Field, and Clavijo have disappeared, so we'll keep you updated on that. The same thing happened to McFarlane earlier. It almost seems like pit lane may be bugged. When people are entering pit lane, they completely exit existence. See, look, Ryan Field is back, and he is exiting pit road. So when people are reading out, they're on pit road. Trust me, believe me. They are just entering a different dimension to do so. So we'll see how this plays out eventually. But you see, Brian Saab is still in this race. That is not his championship coming to tatters. He's just pitting early in this one, getting out of traffic. And we'll see how that one plays out. So now the 2 championship contenders have a split strategy. And Darnell is now 40 seconds up the road. And Brian Saab, I guess I can't tell you how long he spent on pit road because he popped out of existence for a bit. So Francois Schenk, these guys all look like they're kind of holding station. Nobody wants to fight too much here. Everyone wants to let the pit cycle take its course, and then you start the fighting. Because otherwise you risk... Lazan's only 3.7 off. He's actually gained a little bit on the back of these guys. And look at this. Schenk and Carr dive down pit road, and they enter the alternate dimension. So Zepka and McKenzie take the lead of this race. Okay, we can actually see these guys somewhat. We'll see how long we can stay on them. But coming down pit lane, they hit their box. Carr and Schink managed to stop without any drama. Gorman and Lazan, Bauer, Hendricks is on pit lane. Darnell, Murray, Ston. A lot of action. And now we got to check in on Brian Saab because Mark Darnell is going to come out of pit lane here in about 30 seconds. And for Saab, we're going to find out whether or not he's ahead of Darnell. McFarlane making a move on Kirk Lane in turn 1 as all of the pit carnage goes down in pit lane. Zepka McKenzie staying out an extra lap. I wonder if this will allow one or both of them to jump some positions here. On the front stretch now, we can see Mark Darnell on pit exit ahead of Son and Murray. Here comes Bertolucci. There's Kevin Clark. And here comes Brian Saab. And on the exit of turn 1, Darnell will be ahead, and they will be as they were, I think. Son will not pose a threat to Saab here. And Jason Breen will retain the Delta lead. Lane and Hindenburg yet to pit. Carr comes out ahead of Schink. That is interesting because Carr spent 1 second less in his pit stall. Has he underfueled to get ahead, or have both of them kind of had a slow stop? This is, honestly, it's a good sign for McKenzie and Zepka. They have got to be going at full push here. And on pit entry, we're going to see them give it everything they've got. One last time this season, the 490 pulls onto pit road and the 04 pulls onto pit road. Mike DeAlmeida joins in behind. I imagine Mitchell will be next. And there he is. So now we watch this very closely. Hendricks got around Lazan over the pit stops. And Hendricks has pitted. And now on pit exit. We're just waiting to see who gets out first, and they both get let out at the exact same time. McKenzie, Zepka on pit exit, bumper to bumper. Where is James Carr? There he is in turn 1. There are your other contenders on the outside. 2x2 on pit exit. Matthew Zepka in the lead of the race. Logan McKenzie's going to be on the right side of James Carr, but he's going to lose out. Will he stay ahead of Francois Schink? Yes, he will. So Schink is the big loser over that pit cycle. He had the longest pit stop by far, 1 second longer than the other 3 drivers. And that is a big shakeup in this race. McKenzie's going to have to go defensive to keep Schink behind him, and they're going to go side by side into the hairpin. McFarlane saved more than anybody. He'll pick up the bonus point for leading a lap. And now the picture of this race gets a bit clearer. 22 minutes to go. Micah Hendricks is in a pretty good position himself. Look at this. He's on the back of Edward Gorman. Gorman is 5 seconds off the top 4. So Hendricks would have to do some work in 20 minutes, but he could clinch the championship himself still. He has gained 25 spots in this race, and he's pushing hard for another, but to the side of Edward Gorman, and now he risks losing the spot to Lazan. Lazan will tuck back in behind, though. And the desperation from the 473 as they run through the final sector of the track. They're putting it all on the line out there today. Jason Breen remains your Delta leader after pit stops. It's gone swimmingly for him, but the gap has been cut down a bit, and that is because Breen took tires in his stop. So he lost some time. His stop took about 5 seconds longer compared to everyone else. That's why the gap has narrowed. So Kevin Clark is not that far off him. Then you have Darnell, Saab, and Son, all still back to back to back. Now, Dan McFarland has not... Oh, Dan McFarland is not pitted because he pitted on lap 4 because of all the crashing. So he'll pit a bit later. Car defending from McKenzie again, and this has caused them to lose touch with Zepka just a little bit. And Zepka now has a 7/10 gap. Zepka has at times looked like the fastest of this group of 4. We got to go back to Micah Hendricks if nothing happens in the hairpin here, which McKenzie's staying defensive. He's going offensive. Nose in on James Carr. And out of the hairpin, I don't think he's going to be able to stay there. So we go to Hendricks, who does the same thing. He's going side by side with Lazan and Gorman on exit, trying to use his momentum to get around. Shink on McKenzie, meanwhile, has the momentum on the outside, but he can't do anything with it. So we bounce back to Gorman, defending from Hendricks, and Hendricks sweeping around the outside. Can he get it done? Through the left-hander, Gorman's going to keep the inside here as they come to Tower. So this is not over yet. Difficult to hold it around the outside here, but it can be done, and your championship leader is doing it. He clears Edward Gorman, and he's now into 6th. That's 26 spots for him on the day. And with that, he has cleared that group of 3 cars we were talking about, it being so important for him to clear them. And Hendricks has this championship well in his sights. It's not over yet. 6 seconds to the drivers ahead, 19 minutes to go. We'll keep an eye on his lap times and see if he is trending towards getting up there. Dan McFarland finally comes down pit road, so he will relinquish the lead, and Matthew Zepka will lead. I believe those are his first laps led of the day. And he's got a decent cushion behind. And right now, doing Micah Hendricks a big solid. He's the only SIA driver in between McKenzie and this championship. James Carr here as well. Let's not count him out because he is sort of the odd man out in this situation. He has no stake whatsoever in this. So he has nothing to lose, everything to gain from winning this race. We jump back to Mark Darnell, who's been passed by Brian Saab. Saab now P3 in class. We'll keep an eye on this. We'll also jump back here because the pressure continues to mount for Carr. The sun setting on the horizon. The lights will soon come on here at Sebring. The sun's setting on season 10, and look at this! Francois Schink, out of nowhere, appears alongside Logan McKenzie. It's a little jump scare, but he can't do anything with it. And so they go another round. And on this lap, you will find out why they call it sunset. Let's go on board with John Lazan as he chases Edward Gorman, who has Micah Hendricks in front of him. As long as Gorman has Hendricks in front, he'll be getting a little bit of that tasty slipstream that'll be helping him stay ahead of the 77 for now. But you see as they come through these corners and they look out to sunset, the sun isn't quite low enough to blind them yet, but it's setting so fast. By the time they come around next lap, it may have even been set. But they'll probably have one more lap of staring at the sun, and then it will be headlights on for the field. It's been a fairly clean race. Look at 34 cars in this field. All 34 of them are still driving. I mean, if you ignore the wreck at the start, it didn't total anybody. Everyone's still in this one. Lazan tries to make a move on Gorman into turn 1, but can't get alongside, and anything he tries is going to put him at risk of Mike De Almeida getting involved. So he's got to be careful about how he plays his hand here. Now, Dan McFarlane is closing in on the back of the Delta leader, so Jason Breen may have to facilitate a pass here soon. And Brian Son is going around Mark Darnell now into turn 1. Here we go. The 30 on the 83. Big championship implications here, and Son's going to put himself in between the two Delta protagonists. And the overtake complete. Murray, Lane, 2, and Clavijo are not far behind. They're all in a very tightly knit group. And there's still a lot of action that could occur here before the end of this race. Pit stops are done for these drivers. And Gorman still under some serious pressure here. As Hendricks gets further away, it's going to get harder for him to go on the defense here. And Hendricks has already cut that gap to 4.2 seconds. So it's possible. It is possible. It's all on the line for Hendricks. He's got to put the maximum pace into that Elantra. The headlights are on. And if we go to the front view now, look at that. The sun has set. It is fully behind the horizon. So Sebring is about to play host to the final 15 minutes of ATC 10. It's been a beautiful celebration of 10 seasons of touring car action. Never thought that we would get here. Never thought it'd be successful. But here we are. And every moment continues to be more exciting than the last. And this moment is going to be Gorman versus Lazan. Into turn 1. Gorman. Oh, Lazan. He may have had a moment there. A snap oversteer. I think he got into a slide. And that has resulted in Mike Diomita going around. And that relieves some of the pressure from Gorman for the moment. Looking back to the battle for the race lead, Carr and McKenzie have put a bit of space between themselves and Francois Schink, but Zepka maintains this 1 second race lead right now, hunting for his first ever career win in the Alpha Touring Challenge. And what a win that would be, because it has been quite some time since he joined the series. Matthew Zepka, though he has 2 poles, no wins. It has been 144 career starts for him without a win. That's 819 days since his first start. In 2.5 years. Does the wait finally come to an end here at Sebring tonight? 13 minutes left, and the 490 leads for Sia. James Carr is trying to close this gap. He's right on the edge of the slipstream. John Lazan has crept up to the back of Mike Diomita once again, and this fight for 7th place is not over. Jason Breen seems like he solidly has the Delta lead. Still a 7-second advantage there. Mark Darnell hasn't lost Brian Son, but Murray and 2 are not far behind in the background. And a point so close between Saab and Darnell. We're going to have to wait for the final tally after to know who won this championship. If things stand the way they are, I'm not exactly sure how they'd fall. And 2 may finally be looking for a move on Kyle Murray. Driving into what is left of the sunset. He lunges, and the 96 is through on the 101. Will Murray come back at him into turn 1? Will Kirk Lane try and take advantage of this as they head down the front stretch? The track considerably cooler now than it was at the start of the race. Lane committed to this move, a little too committed, and Murray is sent spinning in the closing minutes of this race, and he is kicked from 5th to 7th in class. And now Lane's going to be under pressure from Clavijo, and he might be carrying a penalty from that as well. So that could mean Evan Clavijo is P5 right now. Mike De Almeida is defending. He's got Lazan on his inside. Lazan can't make the move there. Will he try and cross him over as they head into tower? Stays behind him for the moment. Zepka holds his 1 second lead up front. Hendricks is now 3.2 seconds off that group. At this rate, he'll be on them with about a minute to go. A little bit of contact as De Almeida goes a bit wide into Lazan, and Lazan's going to lunge up the inside, taking advantage of that. And he's got the position. They have yielded about 2 seconds to Edward Gorman ahead, but that puts the 77 ahead of the 6 for now. Behind them, Ryan Field in his first Alpha Touring Challenge start, trying to get back into the top 10, score top 10 on his debut. He's got the 27 in front of him. Mitchell will allow him to have the right side of the track. And coming into sunset, it will be the Elantra of Ryan Field pulling ahead. And he's got 10th. Now, Raymond 2 is going to be working on Mark Darnell. And heading down to sunset, Brian Saab's car is looking strangely reflective. 2 gets around Mark Darnell, so it's another position loss for Darnell. For Saab and Darnell, this could not be any closer. And Saab has got the strobe light car right now, but he's also sitting P2 in class. Checking in on Matthew Zepka. 9 minutes to go. 9 minutes to hold on for his first career victory in the Alpha Touring Challenge. Micah Hendricks is 3 seconds off this group, but it's starting to look like he won't need to necessarily catch them, because McKenzie is not leading this race, and him winning it doesn't look likely at the moment. They're not making inroads on Zepka right now. We'll go back to De Almeida, who hasn't lost touch with Lazan yet. You see them coming through there, running a little bit behind Gorman and Hendricks. And the sun fully set now. Not easy to see out here. Clavijo and Lane going 2 by 2. And Lane's going to slot in ahead. Clavijo may come back at him here into tower, but no, he stays behind, almost gets into the back of the 881. Sebring has as decent night lighting. For the most part, you are still using your headlights. There are reflectors on the ground here that help out a lot. It's one of the more night racing friendly circuits. Clavijo again almost into the back of Lane. Pushing it very wide there. On the back stretch, or excuse me, the front stretch, Lazan had De Almeida close. But De Almeida not able to push all the way up there. And Kirk Lane and Clavijo now side by side. And Clavijo is going to pull ahead before they get to sunset. Lane will go for the slipstream again, but he cannot get back alongside. So that is a position that's P5 in class for Clavijo. But he's gone a bit wide in sunset. You can see those rear brakes screaming in the darkness. And Lane is back alongside the Yart driver. But Clavijo will be able to stay ahead into turn 1. Now, Saab and San, look at this. Raymond 2, Brian Saab, Brian San, they're all coming together here. Championship implications for the Delta class are a possibility. Oh, a little bit of contact between Saab and 2. Saab's got to drive this as carefully as possible. Look at this. Mark Darnell's right on the back of this. He's got a great view of it. Into the hairpin. What is going to go down? Saab on the brakes. Raymond 2 holding it around the outside. A little bit more contact, and here comes Mark Darnell. And Darnell's going to be on the outside of this situation. Saab still sticking to the inside of the 96. Brian Son has run away. He's now second up the road, and Logan McKenzie and James Carr. James Carr has to yield to McKenzie. I think that may have been another slowdown. He was almost up to Zepka. It was a half-second gap, and now it's a 1.7-second advantage to Zepka, and he is the only thing standing in between Logan McKenzie and 6 championships. He's the only thing keeping Micah Hendricks on the top step in the Alpha Championship, and of course, he is hunting for his very first career victory as James Carr goes wide in the background as he pushes to find whatever he can to catch McKenzie in these closing moments. Micah Hendricks is close to Francois Schenck. He's only got 5 minutes to do it, but 1.8 seconds away, he could catch Schenck, and if he does so, it won't matter. He'll have the championship. 5 minutes to go here at Sebring. It's all kicking off. Kirk Lane and Clavijo are not done fighting. They're also not that far off of Saab and Darnell, who are the next 2 cars ahead. Lane's going to send it into turn 1, and Clavijo's going to have to go on the defense. Around the outside, avoiding contact on corner exit. And Lane's going to have to stay behind. And now we have Spencer Clark going through on Ian Bertolucci. And Bertolucci having trouble there through Sunset. Spencer Clark making his first career Alpha Touring Challenge start. And he's up to 24th now. 9 positions gained in this one so far. Raymond only has 3/10 on Son. He's not been able to clear him that much since making that pass. Darnell's right on the back of Saab. These two have ironically been inseparable in this season finale. McKenzie now 1.92 seconds off Zepka. The gap is just not changing. Diamia and Lazon are still tied together at the hip, but really we should be watching this Delta battle for the Delta podium places, because Son, now that 2 is around him, it's Saab and Darnell behind looking for those final podium spots, and they've also got championship points to consider. And they're coming around onto the backstretch now. And there are 3 minutes to go in this race. 2 laps to go now for Matthew Zepka. And he has an increasing margin over McKenzie. And McKenzie is under pressure from James Carr. He's watching his championship slip away. It's going to be Micah Hendricks' championship. Right now, it is Micah Hendricks' championship. He's had the lead for so long, and it was on the verge of slipping away here at Sebring, but he just might pull it out. He stopped making inroads on Schenck, however. I don't think he's going to get to him before the end of this race, so he just has to hope that Zepka can turn in a couple more clean laps. And Zepka is doing exactly what he needs to do up front. And now Jason Breen is on pit road. He had to stop because I'm not sure why. He had to make a second stop. I don't think he was going to make it on fuel. He pits out of the Delta lead, which puts Brian Son, who has never won a Delta race in his career, in the lead of the Delta class. He was 10 seconds behind Jason Breen just a minute ago with 3 minutes to go. And now he has a 1 second advantage over Brian Saab, looking for his first career win in the class. Clavijo's made his way around Mark Darnell. Now Darnell is under pressure from Kirk Lane. It's going to be tight. McKenzie is now going to be under pressure from Carr. They come to get the white flag. Zepka's now 3 full seconds up the road. McKenzie stays defensive as they head to Sunset. It's going to be side by side for Carr and the 01. McKenzie has the advantage as they roll around to get the white flag, and that may have been wall contact. And now Carr inches ahead as they head to the first corner. The white flag waves into turn 1 on the brakes. Carr gets a little sideways, and he's going to lose out to McKenzie on corner exit. Zepka now has 3.5 seconds over McKenzie and Carr. Kirk Lane and Mark Darnell are about to go too wide into sunset as they come around to pick up the white flag. And Kirk Lane's now going to go through on Mark Darnell. So for Brian Saab, it's very close points-wise. For Matt Zepka, we've passed the hour mark. He's still your leader. John Lazon at the end of the race. Tragedy. Something has happened. He went off track and now there's heavy damage to the left front of that car. And he may not make it to the end of this one. Oh, and he's going to have to try and... Oh, the car's not going to turn there. And that is it for the 77. A lot of people are going to go by him on this lap and he will tow. Not how you want to end season 10 if you're Lazon. For Carr, it's not going to be the ending he wanted. He's not going to get the victory. But can he get to McKenzie before the end here? He goes into the back of McKenzie. There's contact. Oh, and now McKenzie gets all out of sorts. Carr goes through. Shake goes through. And that is going to be it. McKenzie is incensed, but it's not going to matter. Into sunset we go for Matthew Zepka of Curb Your Enthusiasm Autosport. It's been 144 races of trying. On the 145th attempt, he takes victory at Sebring International Raceway. And behind him, it's a drag race to the line. Shank, Carr, Shank has it. P2, it's a 1-2 for Sia. And crossing the line, Micah Hendricks. He places 5th, but he is P1 in the championship. Your Alpha champion for the 2nd time in his career, Micah Hendricks. He has done it here at Sebring. And the fireworks going off for the 473. And for Matthew Zepka, big congratulations to him. And for Brian Son, he will cross the line. It's 2 first-time winners in the AlphaTauri Challenge to finish the season. Brian Son wins the Delta class. Brian Saab 2nd. Mark Darnell, he is 5th in class. But I'm being told he has done just enough to win the Delta class by a couple of points. So your champions, your season 10 champions, Micah Hendricks and Mark Darnell. And Matt Zepka, I think he's now out of fuel. And he tows the car to end the season. Brian Son bringing it home now for the celebrations to begin for him. Over an hour of racing, sun up to sundown. Season 10 has finally concluded. And it could not have concluded in a better way, I think. Micah Hendricks is your 2-time champion. And Matt Zepka and Francois Schenck get a 1-2 to complete the Sia dominance. And let's not forget, Mark Darnell, also your Delta champion. So Sia picks up every conceivable championship. They sweep it. They win the team championship. They win the Alpha championship. They win the Delta championship. And now a few drivers posing for on the backstretch. That's the SRG teammates of Ian Bertolucci, Damon Mitchell, and Dan McFarland celebrating the end of their season. Well, that is it from here at Sebring. It's time to take a look at your final results from here in Florida. Let's start from the top. It is Matthew Zepka winning the race by 4.7 seconds over Francois Schenck and James Carr. And then Logan McKenzie, P2 in the championship, P4 here. Micah Hendricks, he almost got to the back of these guys and close enough to do something, but he also lost ground there at the end. So I wonder if he was close on fuel and just had to nurse it. It didn't matter. His teammates got it, and that concludes season 10 for him. Two-time champion, well-deserved. He wins season 8. He wins season 10. And now in the Delta class, another first-time winner, Brian Son, defeats Saab and Clavijo in that one. And then Darnell, from 5th in the Delta class, barely ekes out Brian Saab in this race. And that is enough. Or excuse me, just ekes him out in the championship. That is enough to name him first time Delta champion. Darnell, after 10 seasons of racing in the series, finally crowned a champion of the Delta class. Further back in the field, we have, the timing tower is still experiencing some technical difficulties, but you see Murray, Fedorowski, Breen ended up in 20th overall after all that, a crushing defeat, having to go back to pit lane again. Spencer Clark, 23rd on his debut, just ahead of Ian Bertolucci. And then Harrison and Acatella demoted further back after their troubles. The entire field, aside from Henneberry and Clark, finishing the final race of the season. The Alpha Touring Challenge Season 10 is over. It's done. There is nothing left but to look forward to Season 11 and to celebrate our current champions. Congratulations to Mark Darnell. Congratulations to Micah Hendricks. And congratulations to Curb Your Enthusiasm Autosport for winning their respective championships. Congratulations to Matthew Zepka and Brian Son for their first career victories. And now we will hand you a final look at the championship standings from ATC 10. Thank you so much for watching, and have a good night.